Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. So this has been days in the making. Cindy's been getting a lot of info from the guides on this for literally days. And then we were waiting for the right opportunity to have her go under and do a full channeling so you can hear the words of White Buffalo Calf Woman herself explaining this prophecy being fulfilled. This is a beautiful prophecy. When a white buffalo calf is born, it's a sign that prayers are being heard and that promises of the prophecy are being fulfilled to the American Indians. No, it's to more than just that, but a white buffalo calf is one of the most sacred things, and it is a foretelling of a new age. This is a prophecy that is saying there's light coming into the world. There is light coming into the world. Also, for the dark power structure, your time is ending. And it couldn't get any better than that.
And there will be more. There will definitely be more. This was just the initial one. I do have another written channeling. So she has been coming through really strong since the birth of this calf. But I feel we just needed to get this one out.
Yeah, absolutely. Because everybody's saying, do you see it? Do you see it? Oh, yes, we see it. There's a reason why this is up in our living room. And actually, we have more than one picture painting with White Buffalo Calf Woman on it. It's because it's a sign of the end of the Kali Yuga, the beginning of our new Dwapara cycle, the bronze cycle, as we are out of the dark age. Yes, it doesn't mean that we're free and clear. No, because the power structure on the planet is dark and demonic, and they're going to do everything they can to maintain their power as long as they possibly can. This is not the first go-round. And, some of what you're going to hear will probably stagger minds if you're new to all this. Others will say, yes, this is a confirmation of what I've always known. So this is calling it a 2,000-year-old prophecy, but in reality, we could look at this and say the prophecy is much older than just 2,000 years. So the prophecy says that when mankind had been plagued by diseases of the material world, by war, famine, greed, that man will have an endless appetite of wanting more, but a white buffalo calf will be born, and this is going to be the beginning of a shift from the masculine energy back towards the feminine energy. And this will signify the beginning of the return of the white buffalo calf woman. So, this is all about turning the great wheel of the yugas. It really, really is. And we've talked so much about the turning of this. And for all of us, we've been born in a Kali Yuga, and now we are standing at the very beginning of Dwapara. And I'm aware that there's different cycles out there, different interpretations of these cycles, some in millions of years. There are cycles within cycles within cycles. And I'm aware, and we've talked about Sri Yugotswar's understanding that we actually entered Dwapara around 1700 or so with the beginning of the industrial age. But this is what we're getting directly from our guides and directly from White Buffalo Calf Woman herself, as she is one of the easiest ones for Cindy to channel. Cindy's own higher self is of such a frequency that they are completely in alignment with each other. So we will share this channeling with you guys, and then we'll give you some other thoughts on this. And so this is Cindy channeling White Buffalo Calf Woman.
Okay, I'm going to bring in, hold on. I'm going to bring in White Buffalo Calf Woman. Her energy is very strong, so if I get overwhelmed and teary, I'm sorry, it's her energy. It's very similar to Yeshua. She says, I am very delighted to come to you through this means, through this channel, and a very exciting time in your world. As many of you have seen and many of you know, the white buffalo calf has been born. We look at these energies slightly different than you. We see this white buffalo calf as a very important time marker on your planet, moving into a new time where your world will become more transparent, where you will understand the inner networkings and how to utilize the innermost networkings of this planet to help you fulfill your dreams, wishes, and hopes. The birth of this white calf is monumental during this time of chaos in your planet. The birth of this calf is an indicator that your times are changing. The energy that this calf carries is the same energy that was prevalent in what you would call the Silver Age and your Gold Age. The buffalo that were on your planet, along with many other species, were born white. Your sun was different. Your placement to the sun was in a different position than it is now. The essence of your sun, much stronger than it is right now. But this is a sign that you are on your way back to these times, and this is what makes the birth of the white buffalo calf so glorious and very exciting to us from our standpoint as we watch and we try to guide you in every way possible. Let this new beginning come to you as fresh as a newborn baby. Grow up with this calf, understanding its life cycle is that of the cycle of life that you are living. Many of you have your abilities and they have come online, yet you are still babies, you are still small, you don't know exactly how to utilize them. I encourage you to work together, ask questions, get mentors, take notes, understand the world that you live in, grow with it. We know the technology on your planet is not of a good nature, but we encourage you to transform the meaning of your technology. Please understand, one good thing about your technology is so many of you are able to lay eyes on this beautiful, blessed calf, which sends a sacred essence into your soul, and it will start a seed of growth. For you are changing as well. The meaning of this calf is far greater than I will be able to explain through this channel or through human words. But I am here to tell you it is a marker in time that is important for those who have been waiting. This does not mean that all things are going to go smoothly, no. But this does mean that things will begin to change in you. You are the most important being on this planet understand the essence of the self is what you want to one moment, please. Let me readjust. The essence of yourself is that seed that you want to grow, you want to water it. If you see a flower that is not well, if you see a tree that is faltering, you don't blame the tree, you don't blame the flower, you look at the soil. So if your soul is not well, please look at what you are surrounding yourself with. Do you need nurturing? Do you need better food? Do you need clean water? Sometimes these things can be so simple, and this is what will allow your soul to grow and mature along with this calf. But this calf is definitely an omen that so many people are able to view at this time. In times past, the calf was not able to be seen by so many. And this is what makes the energy different this time with this newborn calf. The calf is seen by so many and understood as a good omen. And this is going to cause a ripple effect into your world, into your being, and create change. How this change occurs is not up to anyone but you. You have more power than you know. You have more power than you understand. We can only tell you the power that you possess, but you are the ones who need to believe it. Look at the attributes of the buffalo. Understand that its strength, its endurance, its stance, its power is all-encompassing. You now hold all of these essences within yourself, within your being, and you are able to help them grow at this point. At this time, there will be more developments in your world. We are standing, we are watching, we are waiting to see these developments. This will not be my only channeling on this white buffalo, but this is my first of many. I will be returning to this channel to bring you more information because your world is changing. And the more you understand about yourself and your divinity and your sacred essence, the more you can embrace your world and make it yours and make it the world that you want to see instead of allowing the controllers to create your world for you. No, the tables are turning now. The power is within you. Not only have you seen this calf, but your controllers have seen this calf, and they know that it is a point in time where they have to make changes. Some of these changes may not be desirable by those, but understand they are desperate to hold on to their power. They know it is slipping away. They know that it is being lost to many. I want to leave you with this. Understand your sacredness. Understand your divinity. Hear me. Feel my essence. Allow me to help you if you need. To call on me is to call on your own earth for help, and she will hear you. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else you could add to give clarity to the position of the earth? And were you referencing the earth when she was Tiamat?
there have been many cycles, from the cycles of Tiamat to the cycles of Earth. Everything has been replicated. So everything you see on this Earth is but a smaller form of what was on Tiamat. So you could say that yes, the cycles have been occurring for millennia, for hundreds of millions, if not billions of years. How many cycles have you had on this Earth for me to be as clear and concise as possible? I have viewed, witnessed, and been part of 3 cycles since this Earth has been remade, broken off from Tiamat. How many years is this? This is difficult to say, since your years change with the movement of the sun. This I can share with you.
Thank you so much for that.
Indeed, I will return. Thank you, and namaste to all.
Namaste.
And so that was White Buffalo Calf Woman channeling through Cindy. And, White Buffalo Calf Woman, I think, is perhaps the first guide you were aware of.
Yeah, she was one of the very, very first. And I just kept doing silly things. I was needing to go out and ground, needing to learn all about Earth's, her medicinal ways. I needed to learn how things were in a natural way. And then eventually, as I got better and better and I was healing myself more and more, cleaning up my diet, doing things like the meditation, the mantras, then here she's able to show up clearer. So it was like a fuzzy vision at first, but it was a very it was a vision that just would not go away. And also with the energy of when I went to Monument Valley, one of the very last Hopi shamans had passed away there. And I think if you do have certain chemical makeups in your body, that they are able to step in. And so I do have this shaman energy about me. There's shaman in my lineage. So this allows me to channel it in more of a 3D way, and not 3D, in the higher realms as well. So I bring it in both ways, but it's just such an overwhelming feeling of wanting to do things a certain way and not really knowing where that comes from. That's when you're starting to get fuzzy images of who is your higher self, who are your guides and angels. You get to know them.
And so I thought some of the things that were fascinating that she brought up, particularly at the end, it was wonderful for me personally, and it gives me a lot more clarity because I've been piecing these things together through thousands of channeling sessions and meditations. And I know, the things that I've gotten from them clearly, for us personally, is that we have been here for 3 cycles. She's been here for 3 full cycles. We came here with the Galactic Federation, and at the dawn of the birth of Earth from the remnants of Tiamat, or you can look at it, as they've also said, the rebirth of Tiamat in her new form as Earth. These planets and the stars, the suns, are conscious beings. So they are conscious beings. And when a long time ago, when Cindy was channeling about the rebirth of Tiamat in the form of Earth, she moved her position. And so when she was sharing about the fact that our year is not always 365 days, no, and there's so many things that have always stuck out as being weird, don't make sense. The lunar calendar compared to the solar calendar, the change between the Julian and Gregorian calendars, which we know happened, and There's a reason. It's because nothing is stable in a sense. Everything is a great cosmic dance. So the sun itself, many people notice this. Oh, well, I remember growing up as a kid, it was yellowish orange. And then it started to get to be more whitish. And yeah, the sun changes with the yugas. And I've never seen anybody say that before, but it may be out there because, we're not the only ones that are channeling these beings. And then at the same time, I have to just say that I know there are others out there that are channeling the control system. And so you have to use your discernment to feel into them. And there's no higher practice than that of developing your own intuition and your own what we would call paranormal abilities, which are only paranormal in the dark depths of a dark Kali Yuga. Otherwise, this is just who we are. This is what we are. We, as has been said, you probably have heard this a billion times, we are multidimensional beings in more ways than one. And I think there's an awful lot that I'm guilty of thinking that I've explained, and I haven't explained it good enough or well enough or often enough from the perspective of what I know from the channelings that we've had, our own meditations, past life recollections, and just the things that come through that I know, and that you couldn't be convinced otherwise by any sort of system, science, which is, again, one of my biggest phrases I find myself using the last couple of days is science is sales. Sales is science. Science, and this is what they're doing. They're trying to convince you and sell you on their ever-changing, as needed science. Because they'll give you a little bit of truth, but they cannot give you all the truth because then they have no control over you. So the sun itself goes through these cycles, and the sun's intensity changes. Its color changes. Its spectrum changes. And it gets me thinking, wow, maybe there's some things we've had wrong the whole time. As far as when you think about the Kachinas, blue Kachina, again, the sun right now, if you really look at it, it feels like the sun is shifting to a more white or whitish blue. Well, I grew up with a yellowish orange sun from my recollections. Was it red at one time? Was it red at the time of the beginning of the Kali Yuga, or more red? And so, maybe it has nothing to do with Nibiru or a comet or anything like that. Maybe the Kachinas is related to the color of the sun in its cycle, as it cycles through these different colors, which are all about frequencies. Because the lowest frequency is red when you look at these, and the highest is the more blue. So that was a big aha / kind of duh moment for me. Is, at this point in time, that feels like that would make a lot of sense to me. Beware, because the red is the harbinger of the Kali Yuga, but take heart, because when the sun starts to turn more blue, you're cycling through to the higher ages, the gold and the silver. Well, that's interesting, as well as the cosmic dance that goes on with the placement of Earth. And, again, Tiamat, there's residue of Tiamat between Mars and Jupiter. But the positions of the planets change. These are beings. They can move. They can move their orbit. That's a big aha. But we've gotten that in Cindy Channel that years ago. But again, accept my apologies and not always piecing all these things together in a coherent way or not restating it often enough.
Well, they have to. I mean, just as humans, our distance from the sun, sometimes the sun is too hot. We have to adjust ourselves. We have to go somewhere else. Sometimes we might be on a part of the planet where the sun is too cold or the sun is too hot or it's intolerable. So what do? We make ourselves comfortable so that we can grow. And these planets, really, they're no different than us. And that's one thing I like to try to get across is they're beings, and to set yourself into the consciousness of another being and know that they have the same types of things that they need. They have to make adjustments for their body type, whatever kind of body that they're in. But everything has a consciousness. Everything needs to adjust itself as needed. And in this life, sometimes people get really, really uncomfortable. They're just not feeling well. So that the planets go through that too. In astrology, when we're working on someone's chart, if there's two planets that don't like each other, that's just no different than having two people that really hate each other in the same room, in close proximity. It just does not go well. The energy put out is not well. And that's why with someone's chart, you're able to find maybe some of this and some remedies for them, because there's always something you can do about that position. It just depends on what thing it might be and where do you need to move yourself so that you're maybe in some planets they love each other, so you want to be in close proximity of them. You want to be having this energy of certain planets coming at you, but sometimes they're negative and you just don't want that negativity, so you have to adjust yourself. Everything is a thing. Everything has a conscience. Everything needs to get whatever priorities it has and have them put together. And so many times in life you might be in torturous situations, and the one thing, you can count on is change. The one thing that's going to happen is that situation is going to change. On the sad part of things, if you're going through a really good time, unfortunately, that's going to change too, because that's the one constant we can all count on is things will not be the same.
No, every go through again, it's a spiral. So, this is again talking about white buffalo calf woman, but don't think that she belongs to just one tribe. Just as, it's a mistake to think that the real Yeshua was just coming for the Jews, and it's never been about a blood sacrifice. I mean, feel into things. Feel into the red heifer and the blood sacrifice. Feel into the white buffalo calf and feel into the energies. One is a very dark energy, and the other is a very, very light energy. And here you have the demons running the roost and convincing the masses that the light is the darkness and that darkness is the light. It's turning more transparent. That's beautiful. That's the beginning of the end of the dark system for those that will stay clear of it, because the only way they can hold on to you is if you openly give away your power. And as she was saying, the divinity within you, yes, source is within all of us. We don't, and this includes Cindy and I, we don't know what we're capable of. We really don't. Every day is a daily discovery of what we're capable of. And you might just say, well, you two spend 24/7, 365 together, so if you read each other's minds, that's no big deal. You get that with couples that spend that much time together. It is on a different level now, though, and it does also seem to work with some of our dearest friends, but I think it's going to be something that you're going to find growing in your life as long as you stay as sober, clear, and clear yourself of all the lower frequencies. Detox daily, and that means detoxing yourself from all the crud. Honestly, there has always been this desire to just talk about this type of stuff. but we still have to kind of cover the news so you can see it with a spiritual perspective. We've had to go down into the muck and mire, even though I would love to not look at the news at all. And I think that's coming in the not too distant future, because the break away from them and their dark control system is very close. And people are starting to push away. People are starting to separate themselves. And you're starting to realize, do you realize how dark these people are? These beings are. They're very dark. When you feel into the energy of White Buffalo Calf Woman, there's no dogma there. And her and Yeshua, they're on the same team. They're on the same team with beings like Ganesha and Lakshmi and other beings from all over, every single race, creed, because ultimately, as we've been saying, the Earth itself is a planet of migrants. And Tiamat was, and even Nibiru was. That's the truth of this. But Nibiru fell. And Mars, you could see, Mars is the way it is now because of the system. But it's not going to be, they're not going to claim this Earth. They're not claiming this Earth. And the Galactic Federation is real. And they confuse it with, is it Galactic Federation of Light? Is it Galactic Federation of Worlds? Is it the Federation of this? This is what the dark system does, is they throw out all these different things and distortions that it gets you to throw the whole concept away of there being a grouping of higher density, fifth density and higher frequency beings that do give a crap, that do care about us, that do want to help us out of the muck and the mire of the dark system. At the same time, the dark system has its prophets. They know, hey, they're going to figure out, we're all going to know that there's aliens, that there's interdimensional beings as well. It's just a matter of time. They have to control the narrative. This is what they're desperate to do. So now they will control that narrative by giving you, 70, 80, 90% truth, and then enough distortion to still get a whole bunch of people to go down a route that will slow the ascension process. So again, build that discernment within. Get sober. I can't say it serious. This is somebody that loved French wine and Italian wines and loved happy hours and, going to great restaurants and things like that. I don't have a need for the disconnect with alcohol anymore. I really don't. And for most of my adult life, it was always, okay, well, it's 7 or 8 o'clock. I could have a glass of wine and chill and just, veg. Now, no. I'd rather, do something else. I'd rather grab a guitar and zone out, or do some more mantras, or just go outside and listen to the frogs, or listen to the birds. There's so much beauty, and there's so much to be experienced. We don't need to be dulling our senses. We want to build our senses. We want to build our abilities. We were no longer in a Kali Yuga. And yes, we do have some big events that they're going to hit us with, but we'll survive and we'll go through. And it's not about the physical even. This is about shifting the entire energies, not even just of our planet, because these yugas are bigger than just here on Earth too.
Well, your instincts are going to be a lot clearer and a lot stronger. So if there is something really crazy that happens, the more clear your mind is, the better you're going to be able to guide yourself and your family to a place that's better, So I do think it is that time that we should put our health first, and the other things, anything that disconnects you, set that aside. I still completely understand something like people use plant medicine when they have major depression, PTSD, then there's that. And if you're not functional, you can't get out of bed without certain medicines. Just be sure you're doing what you need to do, but keep your body healthy. Don't be taking in sugars, because sometimes it's the sugar that can pull people down. The sugar can cause depression. Sugar, to me, is probably the worst drug it's just horrible because people find it so acceptable, yet it actually sits in your stomach and it starts to rot the rest of your body. You know, your teeth start to rot out, you get arthritis, you get swelled up, and it's on every single shelf in every single grocery store, and even innocent, beautiful beings like Girl Scouts sell it. It's just screwed up, you know, and that sugar, I tell you what, I've had my own battles and you guys know it. I talk about it, so I know it's not easy, but maybe I had that battle so I can sit here and tell you how important it is that you take a look at that. And is that like the crutch or one of your biggest problems is something supposedly simple like sugar, when really it's like the controllers know how to keep you down and get you to enjoy it too. It's just wrong.
So enough of us preaching for now. Again, listen to your heart. Listen to your body. What makes you just vibrate? Listen to that inner frequency being raised. What is it that's doing it? It could be a particular music. It could be just perfect silence. It is especially important to listen to your body when you take something in, because your body will tell you when you're eating stuff that's not what it wants at this point in time. So you have to be flexible in that sense and really learn to listen. There's a scene from Star Wars where they talk about midi-chlorians, obvious play on mitochondria. And at the same time, if we could tune in to the very cells, they will tell you when you're doing something that's good for them. And that's what I always listen to whenever, I take some food in. I always pray over it first and give thanks for it and ask that all the beings involved, from, whatever it is I'm eating, to all those that made it possible to get it here, that they be blessed, free, and happy and at peace. And that is so powerful. In yoga, that is one of the most important things to do. In many traditions, that's one of the most important things to do. Bless your food and bless all those that made it possible. And then put the intent that it will bless you as well. And, information is food too. And so, again, detoxing from the negative frequencies and energies that they are always putting out is just as important as building that inner knowing. They have to go hand in hand. So as always, guys, thanks for being part of this family. Thanks for your support over on Patreon. A lot more of these type of messages to come. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.